Listen, speaking of, we want to extend the life of your plants as well. It is getting cold out there. We've seen the leaves change, and a lot of people have questions about what to do now that winter is right around the corner. Fortunately for everyone, today is a bonus day. It is an Ask the Garden Guy day. So our gardening expert, Derek Thomas, joins us once again to talk about a number of questions that you get asked a lot on the streets, and also some questions that those of you at home have asked. So let's get right to that. Our first question is from Sheila, who watches every morning. Sheila, good morning. She asks, I have roses on my patio. They are planted in ceramic pots. They're weather hardy, but should I bring the roses inside for the winter? Derek, what's the advice?
Right. We live in an area where the climate is good enough. We're not in Colorado, thank God. This is a rose that was actually in the nursery. It's still blooming. So we are in a climate where roses will winter over in a pot. The ceramic pot may not make it as well. One thing that you want to make sure with roses is any of these buds that you do prune now, do not do a harsh pruning to your roses, because that will force the rose into growth. The other thing that you want to do is, if you do have them in pots, kind of group the pots together so that the temperature does not drop, and maybe put some mulch around the entire mass, or do a top dressing. You see roses have a crown. Do a top dressing on the crown once it's frozen, and your rose should make it through the winter.
We don't have to bring them inside, though.
You don't have to bring them inside. They will winter over just fine in our climate.
All right, speaking of winter, this is a question that you get asked often. This question is it too late to start a landscape project at this point in the fall? If we plant now, are we going to have to water those plants all winter? How do we address this?
Well, you know, Steve, we live in a climate, once again, where it's warm enough that you can absolutely do a landscape project in the fall. Fall is actually the best time in our area to do planting.
Oh, really?
Yes. The soil is warm. We're getting enough moisture. The days are starting to get short, and also most of our plants are starting to establish a good root system. So fall is absolutely a good time to do it. The other question that the viewer had was, could we water, and how do we water? As long as it's not freezing, and if we have time where it is too dry, meaning that we have about 2 weeks without any precipitation, you can water as long as the temperature is going to be above freezing.
Right. Don't want it to freeze on them. All right, let's get to one more question now. This is another one that, Derek, you've gotten. When I prune my, when should I prune my trees and shrubs? After the lawn guy did it last fall, a lot of my plants did not bloom this year. So what happened there, Derek, and when's the best time to prune them?
It depends on the plant. You cannot, there's not one, smooth question for this. But this plant is an azalea. And what you're looking at right here is its bud. If your lawn guy prunes that plant in the middle of August, he is effectively going to be removing next year's blooms. Plants like this camellia, this is a camellia that's blooming right now. It's a fall blooming camellia. If in August your person that was coming out to do the pruning pruned away to give it some shape or whatever, they were actually taking off the buds. And then plants like hydrangea, which is this broadleaf plant, you don't want to prune anything of this year's growth because it only blooms on last year's stems.
Wow. Okay.
So it depends on the plant. It's always better when it comes to pruning to hire a professional or ask a professional garden center.
Really need to do our research. Okay, we actually got through quite a bit. Let me ask you real quick, and this I'm sure will be the topic for something else coming up. A lot of people say this is going to be a really harsh winter because we talked about that with the landscape projects.
Right.
So are we going to have to address things differently then as far as outdoor activity if we do get a lot of snow and really cold temperatures?
If we do get a lot of snow and stuff, the biggest thing that you want to make sure with a lot of your broadleaf plants is that you get out there if the snow is really, really wet, take a broom and get that heavy snow off of the plants. Also, don't overwater. If we have a winter where we have enough precipitation, you can kill even a hardy plant by overwatering it. It'll have winter root rot.
All right, good advice, Derek Thomas. Thank you so much. And of course, we always link you to Derek's website as well, where you can find pretty much any information you need to know. Many, many more tips online there. Allison, back to you.
All right, Derek, thank you, and thank you, Steve.